What does that even mean, Bowers Game Corner?
Ahoy there, YouTube! I'm back again today for another game review. And today I'm very excited to be talking about Zooscape from Tasty Minstrel Games. This is for 3 to 6 players. It'll take about 15 to 30 minutes to play, and I'd say it's for ages, 8+. And in Zooscape, this is an I split, you choose game in which you are going to be splitting up groups of zoo animals and then trying to capture those said zoo animals. But not too many of those zoo animals because you don't have enough room in your cage to house as many as you would like to. In the end, you're going to be trying to gain points by avoiding hunters, getting veterinarians, and capturing animals. It's a light, quick, simple filler game. But is it good? Let's open it up and I'll tell you what I think about it. Alrighty then, we're going to take a look at what should get inside of Zooscape. So first and foremost, we have our handy dandy rule sheet. It is like one big poster, double-sided, full color, and it's pretty well done. It should have you up and running very quickly. It's a pretty simple game. It's your typical I split, you choose game, but with some quirks thrown in here or there. So essentially, animals have escaped from the zoo, and you are going to be playing as zookeepers trying to rescue those animals. The more animals you rescue, the more points you are going to get. However, it's not that simple because you can only have a certain number of each animal. So say, for instance, this wolf right here. At the end of the game, you're going to get 2 points for each wolf you've captured, but you can only have 3 of these wolves. If you have 4, you are going to get -1 for each point for the wolf. So for instance, if you have 3 wolves exactly, you'll get 6 points at the end of the game. If you have 5 wolves, you get -5 points. So it can be a big point swing. Some of them will be like the elephant, worth 8 points, but you can only have 1 of them. There's the chameleon, which will copy whichever animal you have the most of. There's also fish, which shouldn't be in there. The fish, which are very hard, they don't really escape. So you don't actually have the fish in here. I'll show you how the fish work a little bit later. So, in addition to that, you're going to decide who's going to go first. And they're going to get these 3 cards right here. Everyone else is also going to get these 2 cards, but I'll talk more about these cards a little bit later. So, the first player is going to have the manager card. That represents they're the first player in the game. And they're also going to have this first and second and this clipboard right here. The clipboard will decide who will be next round's first player, next round's manager. So if you take the group that has the clipboard, then you become the new manager for the next round. So I'll show you what you do. You're going to split the cards up into 5 separate decks. These decks will have more or less cards depending on how many players you have. And then you're going to set out the cards in order. So let's go ahead and set these out. So bada boom, all those in camera. Great, they are all in camera. And let's take a look at a couple of them. We got the crocodiles over here. That's worth 5 points, but you can only have 2 of them at the end of the game. We had the aforementioned elephant. Nothing too crazy right here, but there are some crazy ones in there. There's like hunters, which will be negative points. There's veterinarians, which will help you out. You always want to get the veterinarians. There's the chameleon we talked about. There's the birds, which you can have as many birds as you want, so it's always nice to go for birds. But anywho, the manager is now going to decide where they're going to place the first/second card, because this is going to break up this group of cards into 2 groups. The only rule is you have to make it so that each group has at least 1 card. So we'll just go ahead and make it easy. We'll split it right down the middle, and for space of purpose, for space sakes, we're going to actually put it on top instead of sliding it right in there, which we would normally do. Now next, they're also going to put the clipboard in there. And the clipboard acts, as I mentioned, as a marker that is going to give you the first player for next round, but it also has another special ability, which I'll talk about in a second. And he'll go ahead and put it right over here at the end, and I'll put it right there so you can see it a little bit better. So, I mentioned everyone has these 2 cards right here at the beginning of the game. You have first, you have second, and what you're going to do now is you are going to decide if you want to try and get the first group of cards or the second group of cards over here, and everyone's going to play down their cards face down and reveal it simultaneously. So I'll do this, and now we check. So what happens here is, if no one else chooses first, and I'm the only person who chooses first, it's pretty simple. I get all these cards. Good for me, goody goody gumdrops. However, what will more likely happen, especially when you start playing more players, is you will have contested groups. So let's just say the second group is contested over here. How this works is the person to the left of the manager is now going to split up this group of cards. And I'll move it over so you can see it a little bit better. They're going to split up this group of cards. So they might go like, I don't know, like this. No, let's actually go like, let's go like this, because I think this will be a good example of how the clipboard card works. So everyone who has not gained any cards, so I would not be able to bid on this, is now going to choose whether or not they want the first or the second group. So let's just go ahead and say everybody goes for the second group because there's a lot more cards in the second group. Maybe they want the elephant, maybe they want the crocodile, whatever. Everybody goes for the second group. No one actually picked the first group, so this wolf card now, boom, goes under the clipboard, which means if you earn the clipboard, you also earn this card, which can be a good thing and it can be a bad thing because there might be 2 or 3 cards potentially over here that people don't want, which now makes this clipboard kind of like a hot potato that nobody really wants. Anywho, you are going to continue to go until each player has gotten a group of cards, and if you can't get a group of cards, you get yourself a fish, or you're supposed to get a fish. If you run out of fishes, well, then you're tough luck. But you do that, and then you're going to put all those cards in front of you, and then you're going to rinse, wash, and repeat with the new manager divvying out all the cards and dividing them up into groups. Once you get to the end of the game, you will tally up how many points you have based on making sure to pay attention to how large your cage size is, and whoever has the most points will be the winner of Zooscape. And that, in a simple nutshell, is how the game is played. Alrighty then, Zooscape from Tasty Minstrel Games. What are my final thoughts? Let's go over the pros, let's go over the cons. First, on the con side, this is the biggest con of the game. It is a light, simple filler game, which is just not going to be for everybody. And that's pretty self-explanatory. But that is the main con of the game. There also is a couple minor things here and there. There's like the wild animal card where you randomly draw one, which can either be really, really good or really, really bad. And sometimes you'll get shafted, especially if you take that clipboard card, because then cards will get given to you that, you know, kind of screw you over. But honestly, I feel like that's part of the strategy of the game. I really don't have too many cons with this game. Moving on to the pros, this is going to be one of my new light go-to filler games. It is very easy to learn. It is very easy to teach. It really does play very quickly. You just have 5 rounds and you can kind of teach the game as you're getting it set out. The setup time is simple. The artwork's pretty well done. I think most people are going to like the artwork. The box is small and compact, which I can always appreciate. I felt like the rules covered just about every question that I had. And this is what I want out of a filler game. It is light, it is cheap, it is simple, easy to learn, easy to teach. I feel like this is going to be a solid family game for families. I feel like this is going to be a great filler game for game nights. I feel like it's almost too simple enough that it's to the point where it could potentially be a gateway game or maybe a gateway plus game. I just don't see too many people having strong negative opinions about this game because it is over so quickly. You'd be like, oh, it wasn't too bad. I enjoyed that. Maybe we'll play another game because Tom said he's still 10 minutes out. That's the kind of game this is. So if you're in the market for a light, simple filler game that can be played as a family game or a game night game or a potentially gateway game, then Zooscape is not a bad one to check out. I definitely can easily recommend this one. I enjoyed it, and it's going on my shelf for those filler game situations. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to click on that subscribe button down below in the comments below. Let me know if there was a breakout at the zoo. Would that put you in any danger? For me personally, it'd be minimal danger. I live about, I don't know, maybe 7 miles away from the zoo, so there could definitely be some fallout. The main thing that I would be worried about is I now currently student teach literally next door to the zoo. So, you know, all those kids would just be freaking out, and all those parents would be freaking out. They'd be like, because we'd have to do a lockdown, and all the parents would be like, let me get in so I can get my kids. But all the while, there might be lions running around. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. But for the most part, no, I'd be safe. But let me know in the comments below the question I asked about the zoo escape thing. What would you do? I'd probably try and catch something and eat it too, as bad as that sounds. But as always, thanks for your time, YouTube.